Today is Thursday, September 30th. We'll explain the new bill on the table that could prevent a government shutdown. Lawmakers have just hours to pass it, though. Also, COVID-19 cases that last months, it turns out they're more common than first thought. Plus, a big push from YouTube to ban all anti-vaccine information. A new court ruling that has Free Britney activists celebrating. And a brand new Bachelor host that many fans of the show will recognize. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. Congress has until midnight to either approve a funding bill or watch the government shut down. Remember, if the government shuts down, hundreds of thousands of federal workers will be furloughed, aka sent home without pay. Also, food assistance programs like school meals and food stamps could be at risk. Museums and national parks will close, and more. But there is hope to prevent that. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says Democrats and Republicans have reached an agreement to keep the government open, and they'll vote on it this morning. Then, assuming it passes in the Senate, the House will have to approve the same measure. And President Biden will have to sign it all before midnight. Both Republicans and Democrats have said they're determined to avoid a shutdown, but there could be some stumbling blocks, too. For example, the Senate version does not just include enough funding to keep the government open. Democratic leaders say it also gives billions of dollars to respond to recent hurricanes and assist Afghan refugees. But some Republicans have raised concerns about the process for vetting refugees coming to the U.S. Another Republican also wants to add an amendment that would prevent the government from enforcing a COVID-19 vaccine mandate. But remember, President Biden already ordered businesses with more than 100 workers to require vaccines or weekly COVID-19 testing. So we can expect some debate on that issue, too. And keep in mind, even if this funding bill does get passed and signed by the end of the day today, it's really only a short-term fix. Lawmakers will have to approve another funding measure to keep the government running beyond December 3rd. Stay tuned. It seems COVID-19 symptoms stick around for a while, a lot more often than we thought. A new large study shows more than 1 in 3 COVID-19 survivors still has symptoms 3 to 6 months after getting infected. Some of the most common issues include anxiety and depression, trouble breathing, stomach issues, and fatigue. Researchers at the University of Oxford led this study by following more than 270,000 people recovering from COVID-19. They did not explain what actually causes long-term COVID symptoms, but symptoms did seem to last longer in people who had to be hospitalized. Not always, though. They also tracked people who had only a mild case and ended up dealing with symptoms for a long time. And some of them had no symptoms at all at first, then started getting them months later. Overall, the long-term symptoms affected people of all ages. There's about to be a new leader of the world's third largest economy. Japan's Liberal Democratic Party elected Fumio Kishida. That party is in charge right now in Japan, so it means Kishida is all but guaranteed to lead the country next week when the parliament meets to make it official. Kishida was a former foreign minister under former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. He's known as a moderate liberal who campaigned on narrowing the income gap and proposed a big economic recovery package. But more than anything, he's seen as the safe, stable choice who will pretty much keep up the status quo in Japan. He'll be inheriting quite a few challenges, though. Japan has the world's oldest population, but a declining birth rate. It also has enormous public debt and natural disasters that have become increasingly more damaging in recent years. Kishida is set to take over for the current Prime Minister, Yoshihide Suga, who decided to step down after only a year in power. A volcano on Spain's La Palma Island has now been erupting for the last 11 days, and the disaster just reached another dangerous new phase when the lava started spilling into the Atlantic Ocean. The issue is when lava hits water, it creates a toxic gas that can damage people's lungs. Thousands of people have already evacuated from that area. But many who are still on the island are now being told to seal off their doors and windows to block the potentially dangerous gases from getting inside. The good news is no one has reported being hurt from the volcano eruption so far, but it's destroyed hundreds of homes and many miles of roads and farmland. A huge cloud of ash has now reached nearly 5 miles into the air. Experts say it's impossible to know how much longer this eruption will last. In the past, they've lasted weeks or even months. But this is the first time this volcano has erupted in the last 50 years. The government now says 22 animal species and 1 plant that were once native to the U.S. are now extinct. So they should be removed from the endangered species list. They include the ivory-billed woodpecker that's considered iconic, along with other birds, fish, a bat, and more. Scientists say they've exhausted efforts to find evidence any of them are still alive, at least here in the U.S. And sadly, they say disappearances like this could become more common as humans destroy habitats and climate change warms the planet and makes natural disasters more common. In fact, they say 1 million more species are now at risk. So wildlife officials say by clearing those 23 from the endangered list, it will free up resources for other conservation efforts. Or in other words, they can focus on those that still have a chance of recovering. Since 1975, 54 species have left the endangered list after recovering. Those include the bald eagle, brown pelican, and most humpback whales. More news just ahead, but first we'll take a quick break to thank our sponsor, BetterHelp. Whether you're dealing with parenting for the first time, like I am, or you're feeling anxious, lonely, having trouble sleeping, or you're stressed about your job, or maybe you simply are just not as happy as you know you could be, then check out BetterHelp. BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist. You'll never have to sit in an uncomfortable waiting room because it's all through a safe and private online environment. It's even more affordable than traditional offline counseling, and financial aid is available. So BetterHelp makes professional counseling more accessible and convenient. And of course, it's always confidential. You can start communicating in less than 24 hours. You'll get timely and thoughtful responses, plus you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions. I want you to start living a happier life today. As a listener, you'll get 10% off your first month by visiting betterhelp.com/newsworthy. Join more than 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health. Again, go to BetterHelp, H-E-L-P, betterhelp.com/newsworthy. For the first time in more than 13 years, pop star Britney Spears is free from her father's control, at least legally. Her dad, Jamie Spears, was formally suspended as the conservator of her estate, and the order took effect immediately. The judge said she made the decision because she felt the situation between Britney and Jamie had become toxic. Remember, Britney has said the arrangement has been abusive and that she's afraid of her father. Jamie Spears has denied that part, saying he's always acted in his daughter's best interests. Either way, for now, Jamie is being replaced with a man named John Zabel. He's a certified public accountant Britney's legal team requested to take control over her finances. Meanwhile, the singer is still trying to get the conservatorship terminated altogether. The legal arrangement meant to handle Britney's life has been in place since 2008, but a judge will consider ending it at a hearing coming up in November. It looks like the upcoming 2022 Winter Olympics will be the most restricted large-scale sporting event since the pandemic started. Yep, even more strict than the Summer Olympics in Tokyo. This week, the International Olympics Committee released a set of health protocols for the Beijing Games. They say anyone who is not vaccinated against COVID-19 will have to quarantine in Beijing for 3 weeks before the competitions start. After that, they'll be able to join the vaccinated people in a sort of bubble. That means all team members will have to either stay at the Olympic Village or pre-approved hotels. Then they'll only be allowed to go to training and competition venues, and they'll have to take the dedicated transportation system. All the while, everyone will be tested for COVID-19 every day. International fans will not be allowed. Only spectators from mainland China, who also meet COVID-19 requirements, will be able to get in. The rest of us will have to watch it on TV or online. The Beijing Olympics are scheduled to begin on February 4th. YouTube is cracking down on misinformation about vaccines. The video sharing platform has already been removing videos that spread false claims about the COVID-19 vaccines, but now the policy is expanding. YouTube will start taking down videos that spread falsehoods about any approved vaccines, like the measles or chickenpox vaccines. It'll also ban users that regularly post anti-vaccine content. For example, the platform has already removed Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s account since he's been a prominent anti-vaccine activist. He quickly spoke out against the ban, telling the AP the move was censorship. But YouTube stands by the new policy and says it's an important step to address misinformation. Expect to start seeing a lot more Reels on your Facebook feed. Already, Reels are popular on Facebook-owned Instagram, but this week they were expanded to all U.S. Facebook users as well. In case you're not familiar, Reels are short-form videos similar to what you'll see on TikTok. So with this update, people can create Reels directly on Facebook with a button on the top of the newsfeed. Then you can share them on both Facebook and Instagram if you have accounts on both. Creators can also earn money through Facebook's bonus program called Reels Play. That program is invite-only for now. But Facebook says it's also developing other options for more people to profit off of Reels. $1 may not be enough to shop at Dollar Tree these days. The retailer is raising prices on many of its items. The Dollar Tree says it has no choice because during the recent labor shortage, it's had to raise pay to entice workers. Plus, it's been costing more to get items in stock since there have been global supply chain issues. So more items will be priced slightly higher, like $1.50. Others could cost up to $5. The retailer has already been experimenting with higher prices in a few hundred stores. Now they'll be expanded to all of the nearly 8,000 locations in the U.S. and Canada. Jesse Palmer has accepted this rose. He's going to be the new host of The Bachelor. Palmer was an NFL player before becoming a bachelor himself back in 2004, and then he went on to be an analyst for ESPN. Now Palmer will host the dating show's upcoming season. He says he's excited to, quote, offer the newest Bachelor advice gained from firsthand experience. This season is already in production and is scheduled to debut in January. It's not clear yet whether he'll host future seasons, though. ABC has been looking for a new full-time host since parting ways with Chris Harrison over the summer. That's it for the main news today, so now it's time for Thing to Know Thursday. But first, a quick break to thank our sponsor, Noom. Are you looking to build healthier habits, but the last thing you want is to have to follow strict rules that will only add stress and time to your daily life? I get that. Noom only asks for about 10 minutes of your day to teach you about eating and healthy habits and to check in on your progress. They know everyone is different, and so your program is customized and personalized for you and your own journey. Perhaps that's why more than 60% of users lose 5% or more of body weight, and 60% of them keep the weight off for a year or more. And to get long-term results, there cannot be too much pressure. It has to be sustainable. So with Noom, there's no need to fear ruining the whole program with just one off day. Noom helps you get back on track. So start building better habits for healthier, long-term results. Sign up for your trial at Noom.com/newsworthy. Again, sign up for your trial at Noom, that's Noom, Noom.com/newsworthy. Okay, now back to Thing to Know Thursday. And today's Thing to Know is that it's International Podcast Day. The unofficial holiday got started 7 years ago to recognize the genre's growing influence and popularity around the world. The number of Americans who say they listen to podcasts has more than doubled over the past decade. And reports show the number of Americans who say they know what a podcast is has more than tripled since the early 2000s. And here at The Newsworthy, we are, of course, proud to be part of that trend. We've been bringing you all the day's news for 4 years now. So we wanted to celebrate that milestone with you, our listeners. So today, you'll be able to enter for a chance to win one of 4 fabulous prizes, and we'll be choosing 4 different winners. We're posting this giveaway on our Instagram page later this morning, so find and follow us at NewsworthyPod to learn more, enter, and hopefully win. We put a link to our Instagram account in today's episode notes, or just look for @NewsworthyPod. And of course, I hope you'll just continue to tell your friends, families, and coworkers about all of your favorite podcasts. For those who still have never listened to a podcast, go ahead and show them how it works. Get even more people excited about this medium on this International Podcast Day. All right, thank you for listening. Thank you for making the Newsworthy part of your daily routine. We will be back with much more news to know tomorrow. Until then, have a great day.